Another day, Wednesday, conversations with Dr. Johnson. Dr. Johnson, good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for
Yes,
having me.
yes. Yesterday, you see, every time my brain is like counting votes. No, yesterday we were talking about thyroid, and really a very exciting organ, I learned, at the source of metabolism. But today, I thought we should talk about another extremely important organ, the kidney.
The kidneys, yes, indeed.
Do we actually need kidneys?
Well, without kidneys, we would die. Our kidneys filter out toxins and poisons, and without that function, we would die of toxicity.
So you could say a kidney is like a dialysis machine.
No, I would say a dialysis machine is trying to be like a kidney.
Interesting. So why do we need all this filtration? Why? What's
Well-
going on?
Well, because we're human, we eat, we drink things, we have metabolism, and all of these functions create waste products.
Waste products,
Yes.
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 And the waste products are of different kinds, right? We have waste products that are water soluble,
Yes.
and we have waste products that are fat soluble.
Yes.
So talk to us about filtration of those, because typically the excretion process is water soluble, isn't it?
Well, certainly as far as the kidneys go, it is.
Yes.
So the kidneys excrete the water-soluble waste, and most of the fat-soluble waste end up going out of our intestines.
Yes. Okay. So kidneys. So how would you know whether your kidneys are functioning optimally or not?
Well, unfortunately, if your kidneys start to become less efficient, you typically don't feel any differently until that process is pretty far along. So you need to have a blood test that will tell you if your kidneys are functioning. And that's certainly one of the reasons why having your annual physical with your doctor is so important.
And that annual physical would include the labs,
Yes.
the diagnostic.
Yes.
And what are those indicators in the blood test that would tell you how your kidney is doing?
Well, the most important one is called creatinine. Creatinine is a waste product that we produce when we metabolize the protein that we eat. And so your kidney's job is to get rid of that creatinine. So you measure how much creatinine is in the blood, and if your levels are elevated, it means your kidneys are not getting rid of that creatinine as efficiently as it should.
So that measurement, if it's on the high side, is showing a deficient kidney.
Yes, exactly.
So, so how long does it take to achieve a really deficient kidney? Because it ends up in kidney failure or something like that,
Yeah.
right?
Well, that's highly variable. It depends on the health of the person.
Yes.
It depends on what it is that is triggering the kidney failure. Is it diabetes? Is it lack of blood flow to the kidneys? Is it because you've been exposed to too many toxins that are toxic to the kidneys and literally killing off kidney cells? So it's really quite unpredictable.
Yeah. And so this is really an emerging area, right? Because most times when your kidney fails, you need to either have a transplant or at some point you die.
Yes.
Because without kidneys, there is no life.
Or you go to dialysis.
Oh, yes. I mean, that's what I meant. Even
Yeah.
dialysis has a limit, isn't it? Because you can't use dialysis. What's the longest time anyone has been on dialysis? Do you have any idea?
Do you know, when attorneys are in court, they have a rule, never ask a question to a witness that you don't know the answer to.
Oh, okay. I don't know the answer.
Well,
to.
I don't know the answer to that either.
Okay.
You know, we could look it up and see what's been published, but there
Yes.
certainly may be some cases where I would be surprised if many dialysis patients have gone much longer than 10 years.
That's exactly what I was thinking, that there's a mean survivability, which is
Yeah.
around 10, 12 years.
Yeah, because even dialysis is not a perfect substitute for your own healthy kidneys.
Yes. So, okay, so if now we have a deficient kidney,
Yes.
how do we restore it to optimal functionality?
Well, there are several things that we can do. One of the things that is important is to check for heavy metal toxicity, because heavy metals are toxic to all cells in our body, but especially to kidneys. And
So let's just slow down there. So heavy metal toxicity, we have a urine test that can determine that level.
Yes.
How would you then get rid of that heavy metal
Okay.
when you find those levels?
Okay, so far and away the most effective way of getting rid of those heavy metals is with a process called chelation therapy. It's time consuming. You sit in a chair with an IV in your arm for 2.5 to 3 hours. And
How many times?
at a minimum, you're going to need 20 treatments. If you have much more severe heavy metal toxicity, you may need double that, 40.
Okay.
And occasionally we run into people that have to go even beyond 40 treatments.
Wow. And so what does that do? Talk to us about that.
Well, are you saying what does
Chelation do?
what does it do?
Yeah,
Okay.
what's the mechanism for
Okay.
extracting heavy metals out of the body?
Okay. So first of all, understand that a heavy metal theoretically should be filtered out by the kidneys, but they're essentially invisible to the kidneys. So chelation is a process whereby we infuse this substance called EDTA. It's called a chelating agent.
Yeah.
And if this is the heavy metal and this is the EDTA, it latches onto that heavy metal. Now, when that heavy metal passes through the kidneys in the bloodstream, the kidneys recognize it and they filter it out.
Okay.
Now, if you try to get too much chelation too fast, because heavy metals are so toxic, that would be bad for your kidneys.
Kidneys,
However, properly done chelation, in the vast majority of cases, improves kidney function by the time we're done.
Okay. When you say improve kidney function, okay, so I understand that. So heavy metal is one of the things that we could identify
Yes.
and optimize
Yes.
kidney efficiency and effectiveness. What else?
Okay. Well, interestingly enough, with chelation, to get rid of heavy metals, we get a bonus. And that bonus is chelation helps to take calcium deposits out of the walls of hardened arteries.
Wow.
Think for
That is really...
Think for a moment, what is the function, the main function of calcium in the human body? It's to make our bones hard
Yes.
and strong. It's to make our teeth hard and strong. But when you put calcium in the wall of an artery where it doesn't belong, it makes our arteries hard.
Well, I was going to ask you, how does calcium get to the walls of our arteries?
Well, as we age, our calcium metabolism shifts. And normally our calcium metabolism is such that the calcium goes where it belongs and it stays out of the soft tissues like arteries and joints where it doesn't belong.
Okay.
And through a very complicated process, which is beyond the scope of this discussion right now,
Technically, yes.
chelation therapy actually resets your calcium metabolism to a younger state.
Wow. So when calcium deposits are in your arteries, that would be a contributing factor to blood pressure, right?
Blood pressure, heart attacks, strokes,
Microcirculation issues.
kidney failure,
Yes.
erectile dysfunction, peripheral neuropathy.
So all of you who have these things that doc was just listing, you need to come here for chelation therapy. What else, doc? So you've spoken about chelation, and you've spoken about trying to restore some of that underlying functionality. What
Yes.
else
Okay.
in terms of therapeutic interventions?
Okay, we have a supplement that has the very clever name of K. This is not vitamin K, this is K that stands for kidney.
Yes, and I thought I ordered some of them, but I think it might be in my office. Can you bring it from my office? It's on my table, that supplement called K. Go ahead. Doc.
It's a formula that has a number of synergistic herbs, vitamins, minerals, etc., formulated by one of the most brilliant herbalists on the planet. His name was was it Wainwright or Boatwright? Something right.
Yes, something right.
I believe he's passed on at this point, but it's effective at helping to improve kidney function. And then,
I am actually taking that supplement.
yes,
Yes.
Congratulations.
So thank you. So you would call that almost like adaptogens because we are looking for specific
Yes.
phytonutrients
Yes.
that would really optimize kidney function.
Yes.
All
yes.
right. And that's what that K formula is.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
And then perhaps the most powerful thing is we have something called FSM, frequency specific microcurrent. It turns out that contrary to popular belief, the human body doesn't run on chemistry, it runs on electricity. Yes, there's chemistry involved, but it needs electricity to activate that.
Exactly.
Okay.
For the transport across cellular membranes,
Yes,
right? There's
yes.
the ionic exchange,
Yes.
which is really an electrical
Yes.
underlying force.
And
Yes.
somebody has figured out that every different part of our body, every organ, every system, every tissue has a unique electrical frequency that it resonates at.
And what is frequency again for my American brothers who may not understand what the underlying physics of frequency?
Okay, so frequency is just a measurement of how many repetitions per second. Okay? So, for example, if you plug into a wall outlet, that fluctuates at 60 hertz, which is 60 up and down changes per second.
Correct.
Okay?
And that would be frequency measured in hertz.
Yes. And so the kidneys have one frequency, the heart has a different frequency, the lungs have a different frequency, the brain has another frequency, your spine has another frequency, and so on and so on and so on. And so when a part of your body is injured or sick, it tends to lose the ability to resonate at its proper frequency. And when it loses that ability, then it largely loses the ability to heal properly.
Okay.
So with FSM, frequency specific microcurrent, we're giving a specific frequency to a specific organ rather, that allows that organ to heal. And I have seen dramatic improvements in kidney function while using this technology. I've had a diabetic patient who was on his way towards dialysis. We got his kidney function almost back to normal.
Yes. Yeah. So let me explore here. So we've spoken about chelation.
Yes.
Therapy. We've spoken about the adaptogens or nutrients. We got it here, the K nutrient.
Yes.
And then we've spoken about FSM.
Yes.
So do you recommend all these therapies at once, or do you have a preference of these therapies?
In a perfect world, we do all of these simultaneously.
Yeah, because we don't know the underlying biology and the physiology of what would be most effective for each patient,
Yeah,
correct?
and above and beyond these things,
Yes.
If someone has untreated high blood pressure, that's very bad for the kidneys, so we're
Yes.
going to need to get the blood pressure control.
Okay.
If they have diabetes that's uncontrolled, that's also very bad for the kidneys, and so we need to get that under control.
Okay.
So we look at the whole person. We never
Yes.
look at the kidneys in isolation. We look at the kidneys within the context of everything else that's happening in that person's life and health.
Correct. And so, any last comments you want to make as to how important the kidney is? Because I've been looking at some of the research, and it's showing that the investments in dialysis is going to almost triple in the next 10 years, which means that most people are going to have kidney failure. So this is a very important issue, and so I wanted you to give some advice for those people who are not going to be lucky to come to our clinic. What could they be doing out there in the world to take care of their kidney health?
Well, make sure that your blood pressure is under control. Make sure that you're not eating the standard American diet, which leads to obesity and diabetes. We want to make sure you're not eating too much protein. Too much protein is bad for the kidneys.
That
okay?
really is impactful because I've been having a lot of barbecued meats.
Well, we're going to have a chat now, aren't we?
I know. I was almost becoming carnivorous. Right? Not too much meat is not good for you.
Yes. At a maximum, at any given meal, if you're eating more protein than the size of a deck of cards, that's too much protein.
Okay.
If you go to the steakhouse and order the 24-ounce porterhouse for God's sake, don't eat it all in one sitting.
Yes.
Eat a piece the size of a deck of cards and take the rest of it home for your next 5 or 6 or 8
Or
meals.
give it to the dogs.
Or that's an option as well.
Yeah, you could give it to your dog.
Yeah.
Your dog deserves the meat more than you do, right? And keeps the dog happy and not biting neighbors and things like that. So, so what else to keep people kidney healthy?
Okay. Well, exercise is good for almost anything that ails you.
What you mean, the exercise where you're actually exercising, not watching people on TV exercise?
Yeah, where you're actually exercising.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure that people understand the difference.
And stress management is incredibly important for all of our health from head to toe.
That's a big one.
Including our kidneys. Yeah.
Talk to us a little bit about stress management.
About stress management.
At this time where we are winning with the counting of the votes.
Oh my God.
Okay. So people think that stress is all about what's happening to us. And it turns out that's really not quite correct. Stress is all about how we are reacting to what's happening to us.
Yeah.
So you can have two people in the same situation that to us from the outside looks incredibly stressful.
Yeah.
And one guy is going crazy from it and the other guy is zen.
Yes.
So it's not about how we are, or it's not about what we're experiencing, it's how we're reacting to what we're experiencing. So meditation is certainly an excellent way to manage your stress. For me personally, the most powerful thing I have found is a technique called Psych K.
Yes. You
Psych
spoke
as in-
about Psyche.
Psych as
before.
in
Yes.
psychological. It is a way of finding out what's going on in your subconscious mind because that's where our stress reactions come from.
Yeah.
Okay, the guy that is in a bad situation and is going crazy from it, it's because his subconscious mind has been programmed for him to go crazy.
To react that way. Yes.
And the other guy that's cool, calm, and collected, and it's not bothering him, his subconscious has been programmed to react.
So
Water off a duck's
So
back.
without Psyche, where are people getting their subconscious programming from? From their family, from their genetics, or where?
The vast majority of our subconscious programming comes from childhood.
Okay.
The way we were treated by our parents, our aunts, our uncles, our grandparents, our teachers, our school principal, our minister, important authority figures. If they say to you, oh, you're so stupid, you got a bad grade on that test, you're no good, you'll never amount to anything. Well, our subconscious tends to just assume that everything it's hearing is true. And so we internalize that I'm no good, I'm stupid, I'll never amount to anything. And guess what? That becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy.
No wonder I am so amazing, because all my experiences with that, I was amazing. And so I have my subconscious is architected around demonstrating amazing attributes. So thank you for this explanation today, Dr. Johnson. For most of you who are in stressful situations, stress is a very important issue, and it's something that we need to address. It looks like we have a question from online. What's the question, Karen?
The question is, at what age does one need to worry about whether they have kidney failure?
Well, in theory, it can happen at any age, but realistically, it's pretty uncommon before the age of 30 or 40. Now, all of us, as we age, all bodily functions tend to deteriorate to some degree, and so theoretically, all of us would eventually develop kidney failure if we lived long enough. Now, since I'm planning to live to 180, I'm going to have to take especially good care of my kidneys.
Or because he's working with me, he's going to be rich enough to afford a new kidney. Because we're building kidney plants, and we are also doing transplantation from pigs, so it's just like in the Hunger Games. The richer people are going to live longer, and the poor people would have to die, and we'll replace them because we're going to need people to take
I don't
care
want a
of.
replacement kidney because then I have to be on anti-rejection drugs. I want to keep my own kidneys healthy.
All right, well, that's a good strategy, but we have backup.
We have backup.
This is just backup. Yes, Karen?
The follow-up question is, if someone's already on dialysis, is kidney failure reversible? I think you talked about that, but maybe they weren't listening.
Well,
Yes.
that is an excellent question. I wish I had an excellent answer. I have never had the opportunity to use these treatments we've discussed on a patient who is already on dialysis. And you know, it's realistic to understand that in some cases, in certain conditions, you can get beyond the point of no return. Now, I would love to have a patient that we could try to reverse their kidney failure.
Yeah.
The dialysis patient that's that far gone.
And there is nothing wrong in trying this as you're doing your dialysis, right? You could actually improve kidney function.
Nothing.
Yeah, nothing
there's no downside.
There's
to
no
trying.
downside to trying. Yes. There's just a downside on being a slave and submitting to your circumstances rather than exploring new ways in which you could improve your health. Dr. Johnson, thank you once again
My pleasure.
for encouraging people who are,
Informing.
no, for informing and educating people who are on the down, who are descending. And I love the fact that you want to live up to 180 years. So you should be getting married again soon, because you want to live that life with what? You could end up with like 4 marriages if you're going to live that long.
I'll have to look into that.
Yes, please. Thank you, Dr. Johnson.
All right, my pleasure.
And thank you for joining. And make sure you like us, you love us. If you like him more than me, that's fine. I'm not jealous. And if you like me more than him, he's not jealous. We love you all, and have a good day, and see you tomorrow.
Thank you.